We're continuing our conversation about the trauma responses and how those can kind of be leveraged against people, both interpersonally and systemically. One of the things we have to remember is that fawning very often comes from situations in which you were not able to prioritize your own wants and needs. You had to accommodate those in power, very often through childhood. And so you had to accommodate, and so you learned how to make yourself small. You learned how to not have needs. You learned how to never have anger, because that anger would make you at more risk, more likely to experience harm. And so you learned how to self-abandon. And that self-abandonment is very much what you continue to do, because even if you've gotten to a point where you're in a healthier relationship, you can end up in a place where you have created your own security guard. You have created your own prison guard that says, no, 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 not doing that. I know what it's like, what happens when things like this go on. And ultimately what you end up doing is you end up self-abandoning when you could, in a healthy relationship, have asked for your needs to be met or expected at any level that your needs would be met. And depending on how strong this is in you, you may self-abandon to the point of never asking for anything or taking pride in the fact, for example, that you're very low maintenance, when in fact it is you are not asking for anything and are not actually in a relationship where there's any balance whatsoever. So we have to remember that this can play out interpersonally where, and in a healthy context, you are not asking for anything. You're just abandoning and keeping that resentment and sorrow and loss and grief spinning around like an F5 tornado inside of you. And if you are depriving your partner of that communication of how they could help you, a good partner will be sorrowful and sad that you have not communicated your needs in a way that actually works to have a genuine back and forth. Now, on a systemic scale, we know the systems are abusive. We know they are. So one of the things we have to recognize on a systemic scale, your fawning feeds the system. It upholds the dominant paradigm. If you are upholding the dominant paradigm, you are fawning to those in power. You're making sure you obey those rules that are inside your head that keep you less likely to be smacked, less likely to be harmed, less likely to be exploited. And so if you meet those standards, you dress the right way, you say the right things, you worship the right gods, you do the right things, you do this on the outside, you are abandoning yourself in that process to keep the peace out here, because you do not believe anger is safe. And so your entire trauma response is to keep you safe. And so for a lot of people, that is what they do. They uphold the dominant paradigm. They fawn to these positions of power. They fawn to these kinds of people in hopes that they will be saved if they are behaving rightly enough. And this plays into a whole idea about the panopticon and social observation, keeping you in check so you build your own internalized security guard so that you stop doing anything that might be wrong according to that. It's very much a self-abandonment and can hurt you both interpersonally as well as on a systemic scale.